Have you ever heard of that Bible story of Samson and Delilah?
Yeah. Nah.
Well, that's got nothing to do with what I'm doing. So,
Bit of genius, bit of magic. Surrey Bombo, very interesting, very good, yeah. Very good. 3 cheers for Surrey Bombo, very good, very good.
This past Saturday, the Springboks and England faced off in a rematch of the 2023 Rugby World Cup semi-final. A match that was fiercely contested and decided by a single kick goal, a Handré Pollard 77th minute penalty. 12 months on, England are on a losing streak and desperate to take revenge. Like every other rugby match, it starts with a kick-off, with Marcus Smith sending the ball down to Pieter-Steph du Toit. The Boks set up for a box kick, and Grant Williams sends up a brilliant kick, supported by a great chase, gaining the Springboks 30 metres of territory. Subsequently, after a bit of a side quest, England return the favour. However, the kick is much shorter. Despite this, Freeman does well, and by attempting to slap down the ball, he puts Arendse off enough to force a knock-on. England play a nice little move off the scrum, and after a clearance from Colby, England have an attacking line-out 15 metres away from the Springbok try line. How quickly rugby can change. A positive from the Springboks, another positive from the Springboks, one negative, and suddenly they're in their own 22. And this brings me to a very important point. Credit must be given to England, because they construct this through pressure from Freeman, the subsequent set play from the scrum that gives them that chance to put in that dangerous grubber into the Springboks 22. This then forces Colby's hand and provides England with a great attacking platform from the line-out. Khaleesi puts in a trademark monster tackle on Ben Earl before England regain some control and work the ball to the centre of the pitch through their forwards. Until we get the moment where Smith, Slade, Stewart, and Freeman, who is just out of shot, are all facing the right-hand side. However, this is all part of the plan. They quickly adjust, and the three pictured swing to the left to create an overlap. There to foil things is Grant Williams, who is fast to react and not only helps prevent the support runners off Smith from being used, but forces Smith into a lobbed pass to avoid the intercept. Williams uses his unbelievable pace to adjust to slide home, with these two defensive actions from him allowing 5 other players the chance to cover. England then revert back to the same tactic, with Smith orchestrating the forwards to carry the ball in a way that would move them back to the middle of the pitch, before the big moment happens. This time, although Smith is facing to the right-hand side again, he has few options, and realistically is looking more like he's going to take a drop goal. Etzebeth is the most alert to this, rushing up to charge him down. However, it leaves the box terribly exposed, and after some quick feet from Marcus Smith, England are in the corner for a try. From a Springbok perspective, this is a very frustrating try to concede, because they had plenty of defensive numbers in their favour, with England having 6 players to the right of this line, with one of those being Itoje, who isn't a realistic option as he's still returning to his position. Meanwhile, South Africa have 6 players of their own defending on the right-hand side of this line. The key players to watch are Etzebeth and Williams, who both play a part in this try. Firstly, Etzebeth, who should never really be the player charging down, as he's not only just going from out to in, and therefore needing to cover more ground than someone, say, in line with Smith, but he's also breaking the defensive structure for the Boks on this side of the pitch. Of course, you never want to allow a player to take an easy drop goal, but Etzebeth is not the player who should be charging here. In fact, Khaleesi would have likely made the best option in this situation. However, he, Visa, and Mwanambi were all far too slow to react to the possibility of a drop goal. But this wasn't all on Etzebeth, as Williams too found himself out of position. Williams moves off from where he was in an ideal position marking Slade and begins to jog behind the ruck. Nobody called for numbers on the other side, and there was no need for any, so the only thing I can imagine he was doing is getting into a sweeper position, where a player hangs behind the defensive line in case of a short kick. However, Libbok is already performing this role, with Fassi holding wide in case of a cross kick. This removes any need for Williams to leave the line, a position where he could have had a similar influence to what he did earlier by rushing up and forcing Smith into a lobbed pass, allowing Colby time to fly up and also allowing others the chance to come across. These two moments from Williams and Etzebeth provide England with a 2v1 against Colby, and it results in a simple try. Something that originated from a fairly average kick from Jack van Poortvliet, with Freeman forcing the knock-on from Arendse, and England having a well-executed set play from the scrum that ended up in a kick to pin South Africa in their own 22. From the resulting kickoff after the try, England returned to the same tactic of wanting to pin South Africa in their own 22 through an attacking kick. This is achieved in a similar fashion, with the first step being a box kick. However, this kick is actually claimed by the Springboks, before a miscommunication leads to Libbok knocking the ball on, and England having a scrum advantage. Before there's any time for the scrum though, Smith thumps an attacking kick into the Bok 22, and after a Colby clearance, it's an attacking line out to England, just outside the Springbok 22. Another massive territory gain, in almost identical fashion. England now have another great attacking opportunity. However, the Springboks have Argie Snyman. Now, not to discredit Snyman, but it was made pretty easy for him, with England having only one jumping pot option, and by Itoje turning his back, Snyman can bank on the fact that as good as Itoje may be, he can't take a line out with his back to his own hooker. This means as soon as Itoje stops to turn back around, the Springbok pod know it's time for Snyman to be launched in the air. Snyman gets the offload away to Etzebeth, who after a bit of juggling is hit hard by two English defenders. The ball then falls to who else than Snyman, who manages to once again get the offload away. After another phase, the ball is sent to Libbok, who fires a crossfield bomb. However, the kick is poor, and the Springboks are lucky to get a knock-on from it. Now, why have I bothered to include all of this? I've basically covered the entire match from minute 0 to minute 8, and it's because I want to show how imperfect the Springbok performance was, with the Boks only having their first piece of structured possession in England's half at 10 minutes of game time. And this possession didn't even start very well, with the Boks being forced backwards phase after phase until Libbok decides to send up a high ball. He puts in a significantly better kick than his last, and Arendse matches it brilliantly. This gives the Boks the momentum they just couldn't get previously, and they look to play fast, with a quick change of direction sending the ball to the short side, before Grant Williams does Grant Williams things, only to twist Freddie Stewart inside out before scoring under the posts. There is no need to go into too much detail here, but simply put, George Martin and Ellis Genge are too far apart. This is down to Martin eyeing up Pieter-Steph du Toit and Ben Earl wrapping around the ruck to avoid being in the way of a pass and giving away a soft penalty. However, Marcus Smith is in no man's land, with the position he takes up not offering what you'd want from a sweeper. He might have been best placed here, with Stewart wider in case of a crossfield bomb. Alternatively, Smith could have been an additional man in the line, which could have made all the difference. Credit must still go to Williams though, who has been outstanding this year. However, my biggest call out about him wouldn't even be his obvious brilliant running game, but how much his kicking game has improved, with Williams having 3.07 retained kicks per 80 minutes, the highest kick retention of any test player in 2024, with over 300 minutes played. This once again looks a very familiar picture, with JVP setting up for a box kick to get England into a position to have some broken field attack. However, Eben Etzebeth exists, and times his charge down perfectly, followed by Pieter-Steph du Toit, who has been outstanding for the past 18 months, to dive in and score the try. There are so many moments in this match to cover, from Colby's dancing feet to the Underhill try to Damian Delende breaking through two tacklers to give Colby the smallest of opportunities, which he turns into a try in typical Colby fashion. Unfortunately, I simply do not have the time to go through them all in detail. Hopefully, what I have been able to analyze has been insightful and I can create more of these videos going forward. I was actually at the game on Saturday, and the atmosphere around Twickenham was the best I've seen for a Springbok vs England game in some time. Also, thank you for all the support in my last video. If you have any feedback on my videos, please let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy this content and would like to see more, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, as it will allow me to expand and grow this community.